Well, hello, all of my friendly kindergartners and kindergarten families. Today, we're going to be going over a video that for some of you might seem like this is way too easy of an exercise. And if it does seem a little too easy for your child, have them get more elaborate with what they're going to be doing. But in the past, I've had a lot of parents who have had concerns over using scissors at home. And I've had a lot of students tell me that they don't really get a chance to use scissors at home. So I wanted to clear up some misconceptions and offer you up some training on how to use them in a safe manner at home and how we do it in the classroom. So here we go. So obviously there's a lot of types of scissors and a lot of scissors to choose from. All kinds of shapes and sizes and wacky points.
Of all the scissor types, these three kind of stand out the most in my particular collection of scissors. I like these ones because they can be used by right or left-handed people. The downside on these ones, though, is they do have a little bit more of a point to them than some of the other kids' scissors do. These ones are great because the kids get excited about them and they've got that nice flattened top. They don't have an active blade that you can get cut on. The downside is that I've run into problems with kids getting too distracted by whatever's on the scissors. So I like to personally keep things a little bit more plain. Last, I have this type right here. Now, this particular pair is also made so it works for right or left-handed. And these ones are really ideal. And the reason why is because we've got two openings and you can see one is clearly different than the other opening. This becomes very important for the next step.
This is Jake. He's 8 years old, but he's going to be acting like our preschooler today to demonstrate scissor use. Say hi, Jake. One part that's going to make using scissors less stressful is making sure that you're in control of the environment. I always have my students lay down on a flat surface, and I put down an extra bit of padding for their elbows to keep them so that they're comfortable. By having them go down onto their elbows specifically, I can create the game of elbows on the ground. Make sure that your child's elbows are on the floor at all times while using the scissors for today's activity. Also, it's extremely important to get rid of anything that might distract your child or might bump into them while they're using the scissors. Like 7-month-olds. Great distraction devices. Reminders of scissor safety are always important, like keeping the point down, keeping the point held in your hand, and how to pass scissors back and forth. I like doing this exercise where I say, here are your scissors. Now hand me back some scissors. Now here are your scissors. Now hand me back some scissors. Not only is this like a fun task for the student to do, but it also gets them kind of primed and ready for how to handle and move around those scissors. It's also good for just developing that fine motor skill. Now the important part. So Jake here is getting ready for me to hand him a pair of scissors. And I'm going to show him that first off, his thumb's always going to stay on top. Elbows on the ground, thumbs on top. The thumb always goes in the small hole. The fingers go in the big hole. I offer lots of reminders of making sure that our elbows are glued to the floor at all times and that thumb is always on top, like a thumbs up. Sometimes you're going to get 3 fingers through the hole, sometimes only 2. Just depends on your child's hand size. I give them a reminder that they're lifting and lowering their thumb, not their fingers. Their fingers aren't moving, just the thumb. Their free arm is going to be what's holding the paper. It's going to be what's guiding the paper itself. So as you can see, Jake is using his free arm to hold the paper. And if you watch carefully, again, that thumb is what's doing most of the work. The fingers are minimally moving. The first thing we're going to do is simply just try doing scissor cuts along a line. Sometimes you can pre-draw this line for your student. Some students already know how to. Once your student is consistently keeping elbows down while on the mat, you can have them graduate to using the table. Elbows are still going to be down at all times. So this is how our child should be holding the scissors, but sometimes you're going to see that they do things weird, like flipping them over. You'll notice my thumb's not on top anymore. Another thing that you'll see is you'll see them reversing the thumb hole with the finger hole. This not only makes them a little uncomfortable, but it makes them harder to use. It also allows that thumb to kind of glide in there, hurts their grip. Some students do the scary thing of cutting towards themselves. You don't want to let them do that. Scissor points are always pointing away. Some students may not be ready for full paper cuts, and they may just make small nicks into the paper or chew on the paper using the scissors. The important parts to remember: keep that thumb moving, keep the scissors away, elbows down. At all times, elbows down. Be aware of what your child's guiding hand is doing. You don't want them to pinch their fingers with the scissors. The first task that every student should be doing today is cutting a nice straight line if they can. If not, just have them do little nicks into the paper. Some students may be ready for rounded shapes, and some of your students might even have enough of experience with scissors that they're ready to start doing a spiral. Spirals are a fun way for our PK kids to do decorations. Doing a spiral is really the end goal of using the scissors. By this point, the students are able to show that their dexterity and hand-eye coordination is where we really want it to be for kindergarten. Okay, so real quick review. We always make sure our elbows are on the ground. Our thumb is always on top. Think thumbs up. The thumb goes through the small hole, not the larger one. The thumb does most of the work. Scissor hand does not move forward. It's the free hand that feeds the paper into the scissors. Focus on straight lines for now, minimize distractions, and most importantly, give them time. And what I mean by time is just practice, just time to pick up those scissors in a safe environment without too many distractions, and just use them. Use them on paper, use them on cloth, use them on different kinds of materials. For this particular project, I'm going to recommend that you use construction paper. If you don't have that, don't worry, just use printer paper, newspaper. I always make sure to let the students know before we start working that they're allowed to use scissors if they have a parent or an adult's permission. So you may want to re-emphasize that to them also. You've got some great guidelines to help you to get started up with scissors. All of your students have already used them in school, but I thought this would be a good recap for parents also to know some safe ways that we can use those particular tools. Here on Dojo, you can share photographs of what your students have been doing. I would love to see the amazing little nips and cuts and turns that they have done with their scissors. Share them with me and have a wonderful day. Look terrified.